my shows, and they said, you know what, we voted for you, blah, blah, blah. We never vote on stuff like that, but you were a guy that we voted for. And it's literally so fresh in their heads, but it's almost been, well, I believe I won it in 1976. So what's the math on that? That's almost 50 years ago.
That's about the same time. That's about the same time Magic Johnson got the HIV, and we figured this out earlier. That was 74 years ago.
Yes, exactly. So it's no, but it's been about 5 years or so. But
wow.
It's, time flies, man. Time flies.
And then you returned back again on season 3 because they had a best of show.
Yeah, that was kind of a yeah. I went back to that 2 weeks after season 2. And that was just a cluster show, you know. It was dumb. I didn't want to be on it. I don't know why they made me be on it. It was pretty dumb.
Now, with the show, Jay Moore was the original host on the show, and then from there, I got to be honest, I kind of lost interest, and the show really just. I think it kind of just went downhill pretty much after you guys won. That was it. Season 2, and it was just no good.
Yeah, well, what happens is, and with comedy, and you know, and I read the message boards, and you know, comedy's funny. Like I see people saying no. Like my season had a bunch of people that had done a lot of stuff. Like I've done the Tonight Show and had a Comedy Central special, and I think everyone else on my season had at least that many credits. And you know, it's one of those things where you don't want to discover somebody that's never done it before, because that's not how comedy works. You know, you take a singer on American Idol who can go sing somebody else's songs and sound awesome. You know, you can make them an instant hit. But comedy, you want the old guy that's been doing it for 20 years. Those are always going to be the funnier guys. No offense to guys who've done it, you know, in a short burst, but if you have a guy that's done stand-up for a year or two on Last Comic, then you go and see that person live, you know, chances are you're going to be disappointed if they're doing a 50-minute set. You know, but a lot of them don't even have the time to even do 50 minutes.
Or the material. I mean, probably one of the other stand-ups who I remember from season 2, and like you said, it's a long time ago, who's also a friend of ours, is Rich Voss, who is one of probably the most talented stand-ups out there. I mean, the guy's got great material, and he was really good. And I'm trying to think, who else was with you on the show that season? Was Ralphie May was this year before, right?
Yeah, Rich and Ralphie, I believe, were on the same season. They were season 1. With me, with Kathleen Madigan, Todd Glass, Gary Goldman, Alonzo Bolden, Tammy Pescatelli.
Who was the weird guy?
Harlan.
Who was the weird guy with the hair? The strange guy?
That was Jay.
I can't think of his name.
Oh, dude, you're killing me. Jay, he needs to be on one of your SomeGuy shirts. Jay London. That guy that guy was insane. He was really absolutely insane. And your show, I mean, not for nothing, and really, the names that you just mentioned, these are top I mean, Alonzo Bowden is, I mean, this is a funny dude, and I mean, you beat some serious comics out, which is, I mean, it's pretty awesome. I mean, that's something to be really proud of. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's cool. I mean, you know, comedy's so subjective. I just got an email from somebody that he hated me so bad. He watched my last special, that he hated me so bad that he emailed me to let me know how bad I sucked, and everyone in my life must have told me that I was funny, but they all lied to me, and blah, 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 blah. But you know what? He's 100% right. That's the weird thing about comedy, in my eyes, is you could have somebody go, you were the greatest comic ever, and then somebody in the same, you know, standing next to you saying, you're the worst comic ever, and they're both right, because comedy's so subjective. You know, I can't control you know, I don't know where you grew up, how you grew up, what your financial situation is, what kind of school you went to, how your parents were. All that dictates your sense of humor, you know? And I can't possibly, you know, nail every single person who comes to see me to, you know, I didn't grow up the way they grew up. I didn't blah, 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 blah. So it's comedy's so subjective. So that's why I kind of get mad when people say, like, oh, that guy really sucks, the blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, you have to say that he sucks to you, you know?
Sure.
It's not, you know, there's too many, because this guy said I was the worst guy ever, but you know what? I make 7 figures a year, so I obviously don't suck to a lot of people.
I think we're in the wrong business.
And you know, it's funny how people go through life focusing on the wrong things. Where's this guy's focus? Like, you know, I wonder how many comics he emailed that day saying how much he loved them. Probably not, you know? And that's the weird thing about, like, comedy. When people don't like you, they really tend to tell you. Where I would never imagine finding a band that I don't like. You know, like, I'm not a Justin Bieber fan, all right? But I would never go to his website, see where he's performing, to email him to let him know I will never go to one of his concerts.
You know, something that I remember you did a Gene Simmons roast at the Family Jewels roast, and I remember Lisa Lampanelli got on something. And is she the one who just has no problem saying anything about anything? And she's tough.
She's a tough one, huh?
Did you? And I remember the joke. She actually said, "Let me pause long enough for people to go look you up on Wikipedia."
Yeah, it was a pretty funny joke, actually.
And like, it's got to be. I mean, roasts have got to be probably some of the hardest stuff to do in comedy. Just because not only you're roasting the guy, you were roasting Gene Simmons, but you're opening up the door for everyone to be attacking you. And I mean, that's some tough shit.
Well, yeah. And it's, you know, that was really the only, I've only done 2 roasts and they're really fun, but that's, I kind of have that rep with a lot of comics. You know, I did, before Last Comic Standing, I probably did stand-up maybe 16 years before Last Comic.
Well, you opened up for Joe Rogan, and you also opened up with, I remember you guys, didn't you do a tour with Joe Rogan and then Charlie Murphy, Eddie's older brother?
Yeah, after, you know, way after Last Comic, but, you know, I was one of these comics, I didn't live in LA, I didn't live in New York, I paid my way through college doing stand-up, and the second I graduated from college, I probably performed at about 100 colleges a year, so I was, you know, I never joined this little comic clique, or I never had to. You know, I got all my learning on working on the road, you know, working clubs on the road and blah, blah, blah. And there's a certain group of comics that, you know, clique of comics that aren't really into comics who were like road guys, you know? So I think that's why a lot of guys give me crap.
Well,
even though I've torched them in setting goals as comics, you know, I've done this Nitro 5 times. I have 3 Comedy Central specials, 1 Last Comic, make up a boatload. You know, money isn't always the thing, but, you know, I work for a lot of, you know, Fortune 500 companies. So I've been extremely successful not doing it the way that a lot of those guys did it. You know, I never showed up with a notebook at a coffee shop. In my life, I've never performed. You know, at one of those places, but apparently that's the cooler way to do it.